Okay, so sit back, grab your cup of coffee or your cup of tea, and we're going to talk a little bit. As I promised, we're going to talk a little bit about the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh. And I picked this particular topic today because I've really been concerned and disappointed in the behavior I have seen online of American Buddhists. And I wonder out loud, do you believe in the same Dharma that I do? I see an America where 50%, approximately 48% or so of the population voted for a new president. 47% voted for his opponent. And most Buddhists in America, I believe, supported his opponent. And that's, I think, perfectly normal, perfectly legitimate. In general, in America, the Democratic Party has espoused more ideas of modern Buddhism in America. Inclusion, understanding, compassion, generally concepts that a lot of American Buddhists embrace. So it makes sense to me that most American Buddhists voted for Mr. Trump's opponent. And yet, I have had to disconnect from Facebook, take it off my phone, I mean. I've had to stop almost all social media because most of my friends on my social media are other Buddhists. And the level of hatred and intolerance that I see online from otherwise devout Buddhists is disturbing. From Buddhist teachers, I see labels about Mr. Trump and his followers. Labels of Nazi, fascist, hateful, bigotry, whatever. And it's nonstop. Hatred at its core. Everything the Buddha taught against. I had a great wise Zen master teach me once, Minwei, turn off the TV. Stop watching so much news. You'll find yourself a happier person. She should have given this advice broadly to the Buddhist community in general. So I'll give it to you from my great Zen master that taught me this. Turn off the TV, turn off the news, stop the social media feeds. It's making you miserable. Every single thing that comes out of Mr. Trump's mouth seems to trigger a new response from American Buddhists. And because they spread that vitriol, then I see it from even my non-American Buddhist friends. Complaining about politics in America. And they don't even live in America. It's unimaginable to me that otherwise good, followers of the Buddha take such a dualistic view of the world, take such a dualistic view of society, when instead they should be practicing, teaching, espousing non-dualism. That's what the great Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh taught. We enter R. So I'm going to refer the rest of this conversation to the writings of Thich Nhat Hanh. And I hope those of you who are writing hateful comments online take this to heart. Those of you who are attacking your fellow Buddhists, and I've seen this, I've seen people attacking monastics, otherwise men of the holy cloth, men who and women who have taken a life to seek a complete understanding. And they make one comment online about something President Trump did or said that they happen to agree with, and they are castigated as if they were Devadatta, a heretic who sought to kill the Buddha himself. It's disgusting to me. That is not the Buddha Dharma. Please listen to what Thich Nhat Hanh teaches. He teaches us we enter R. We are not just tolerant of people who agree with us. We are tolerant with people who disagree with us. Thich Nhat Hanh wrote this in his book, The Art of Living. You call me Vietnamese. You may be quite sure that I'm a Vietnamese monk, but in fact, legally speaking, I don't have a Vietnamese passport. Culturally speaking, I have elements of French in me, as well as Chinese culture, and even Indian culture. In my writings and teachings, you can discover several sources of cultural streams. And ethnically speaking, there is no such race as the Vietnamese race. In me, there are Melanesian elements, Indonesian elements, and Mongolian elements. Just as the flower is made of non-flower elements, so am I made of non-me elements. The insight of interbeing helps us touch this wisdom of non-discrimination. It sets us free. We no longer want to belong just to one geographical area or cultural identity. We see the presence of the whole cosmos in us. The more we look with the insight of emptiness, the more we discover, and the deeper we understand. This naturally brings compassion, freedom, and non-fear. I remember one day in the 1970s, while we were working for the Vietnamese Buddhist peace delegation in Paris, some terrible news came our way. Many people had been fleeing Vietnam by boat, which was always a very dangerous journey. Not only were there dangers of storms and not having enough fuel, food, or water, but also there was the risk of getting attacked by pirates, who were active along the coast of Thailand. The story we heard was tragic. Pirates had boarded a boat, stolen valuables, and raped an 11-year-old girl. When her father tried to intervene, he was thrown overboard. After the attack, the girl threw herself overboard too. Both perished in the sea. After I heard the news, I couldn't sleep. The feelings of sadness, compassion, and pity were very strong. But as a practitioner, we cannot let the feelings of anger and helplessness paralyze us. So I practiced walking meditation, sitting meditation, and mindful breathing, to look more deeply into the situation, to try to understand. I visualize myself as a little boy born into a poor family in Thailand. My father, an illiterate fisherman. From one generation to the next, my ancestors had lived in poverty, without education, without help. I too grew up without an education, and perhaps with violence. Then one day, someone asked me to go out onto the sea and make a fortune as a pirate, and I foolishly agreed, desperate to finally break out of this terrible cycle of poverty. And then, under pressure from my fellow pirates, and with no coastal patrol to stop me, I forced myself on a beautiful young girl. My whole life I have never been taught how to love or understand. I never received an education. Nobody showed me a future. If you had been there on that boat with a gun, you could have shot me. You could have killed me, but you wouldn't have been able to help me. Meditating that night in Paris, I saw the hundreds of babies continue to be born under similar circumstances, and that they will grow up to be pirates unless I do something to help them now. I saw all of this, and my anger disappeared. My heart was full of energy of compassion and forgiveness. I could embrace not only the 11-year-old girl in my arms, but also the pirate. I could see myself in them. This is the fruit of the contemplation on emptiness, on interbeing. I could see that suffering is not only individual, it is also collective. Suffering can be transmitted to us by our ancestors, or it can be there in the society around us. As my blame and hatred dissipated, I became determined to live my life in such a way that I could help not only the victims, but also the perpetrators. So if you call me Thich Nhat Hanh, I will say yes, that is me. And if you call me the young girl, I will say yes, that is me. If you call me the pirate, I will also say yes, that is me. These are all my true names. If you call me an impoverished child in a war zone with no future, I will say yes, that is me. If you call me the arms merchant selling weapons to support that war, I will say yes, that is me. All of these people are us. We inter-are with everyone. When we can free ourselves from the idea of separateness, we have compassion, we have understanding, and we have the energy we need to help. Again, that's from the great Zen master, Bodhisattva Thich Nhat Hanh, in his book, The Art of Living. He saw the young girl in him. He saw the pirate in him. He saw the arms dealer in him. If you can't see Mr. Trump or those who voted for him in you, you are failing to see the Dharma as it really is. And you're failing to see yourself as you really are. The hatred needs to stop. The superiority needs to stop. Thich Nhat Hanh didn't say he was better than the pirate. He says the pirate's in me. Thich Nhat Hanh did not say he was better than the arms dealer. He said the arms dealer is in him. And the suffering little girl and the little girl's father were also in him. And when you understand that, you can practice compassion. I have not seen compassion from the Buddhist Society of America online when they discuss the politics of America. If politics keep you from being compassionate, turn off the damn TV. Disconnect from Facebook. Stop allowing it to turn you into a hateful person. And you think to yourself, I'm not hateful. I'm supporting these poor immigrants. I'm supporting the poor LGBTQ community. I'm supporting the black community, the Hispanic community, the communities ravaged by fire, and I'm supporting the communities ravaged by hurricanes. Not when you're not being compassionate. For all of those beings are in you and they are in me. But so is Mr. Trump, and so are his supporters. They are in you and they are in me. And compassion is what we should be showing rather than hatred and vitriol. That is the Buddha way, explained very clearly by Thich Nhat Hanh. So thank you for listening to me today. On Tuesday will be a new moon. We will practice the repentance process that night. We need to. Turn away from hatred and anger. See in ourselves all other sentient beings, whether we agree or disagree with their politics. We all enter are.